Hi guys, I thought I'd talk to you real quick. This will be a very short video. I'm working on the Chinese quadrajet, so this will be part 2 technically of the Chinese quadrajet, but I need to get it back together and try it on the motor. But there's a couple of things I've done. One thing is I have stepped up the spring rate on the secondary side, because remember I was having a lean pop. Now this is probably too tight at this point, but it's externally adjustable, so I can set it down later on, even once it's on a motor, and see if we can figure it out. But I'm hoping that stops part of the lean pop. I also had to work on this little part right here. There's a cam back in here, and this rides on a cam. It's actually a C that goes around the cam, and this is what operates the metering rod that drops down for the secondary side. Now, in this case, this was loose around that cam, so it didn't move when the flapper started moving. So I tightened it up a little bit. I filed on it a bit to make the little surfaces, because this is just a stamped part that's pinned in, and I made it work and follow the cam way better. And so I'm going to do that. I also noticed on this thing that the hanger is not real great. The hanger on it is a little on the flimsy side, and so I'm going to make sure that the rods in the secondary side are sitting where they're supposed to. I already tweaked it. One side was a little higher. That may have been part of the problem. Now, if you remember, the other problems I was having was mixture. Now, I changed out the jet, went to a smaller jet on the primary side, because that was rich. And so I stepped down. This comes with other jets, and so I stepped down to the other jets. I had a couple in the set, and I went to the smaller jet for the primary side. And this is the APT, and it's sitting all the way at the bottom. It's just a stop for where the metering rod sits in the jet. And so if this gets me a little too lean, I can always turn the APT and increase the fuel a little bit in the middle. So that's what this does. And there's a little door on the top. Now that was way tight. It was all I could do. I had to push pretty hard to get that loose. And that's been my only complaint so far about this carburetor, is everything in it. The jets, the screws, everything is way tight. And so if you take it apart, you need to push hard and make sure the screwdriver's right size so you don't mess up any of the screws, and in order to get it apart, especially jets. You don't want to mess up a jet. Now, the spring on this thing for the step-up spring, I noticed is pretty weak, so that should actually be putting it pretty far down. I think they've done that because of the APT, but we'll see how it goes. Now, the other thing that I've noticed is on idle. I took the idle out, and I don't know how much of you understand how quadrajet idle works, but you have a well, and it pulls up the well right here, and it comes up and goes to an air. This is where it induces air, and then it goes back down to the mixture screw. Now, I measured everything, and the interesting thing about this is it has removable well. Now, normally on a regular quadrajet, you have a little restriction at the bottom. On this one, you have a jet at the top that unscrews. And it came with 2 other jets for the idle mixture. And so I've gone to the bigger one that was in the set. But in looking at this, I have noticed that this air restrictor is a little smaller than what jet I'm running. So I'm thinking we may have to open that up. Now, I debated just going ahead and doing it, and I decided that was a bad idea, especially since you guys are going to want to see if you can just jet it up and it'll be all right. And so we'll find out. I'm not going to hook the choke back up. I'm just going to pop this thing back together, get the hanger sitting in right, and put the bigger jet in the screw-in point, and we'll see how it does. We'll see if that riches up the idle enough. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to open it up and open up this restrictor right here and make that bigger. Now the problem is at the moment, this little hole is 38 thousandths, and the jet that I'm putting in for the idle mixture is 43. That's why I'm thinking this is too small. And regular quadrajets don't have this little restrictor in. They tend to just be open. This is something that they have done different on this carburetor. And this is because it needs to suck in air. There's a little hole right here, and it comes over and it draws in air. By putting a little restrictor, it draws in a little better air, and I'm thinking that may be part of the problem. But we'll do it step by step so that the rest of you guys can follow suit if you're having trouble, especially since this is a little different than a regular quadrajet. This is obviously a change that they have done on this quadrajet, and we're kind of curious to see if changing the jet at all up bigger helps. Now, they came with smaller jets, and the one that was in this was 41. Like I said, this hole is 38, and it also came with a 33. So if you were having to jet it down, this hole would be fine. But I'm thinking, since I'm on 500 Caddy, I'm going to have to go bigger, and I may have to drill this hole out just a little bit so that we get more fuel, because the fuel has to run down this passage to go to the mixture screw at the bottom. And that's how it works. It comes up and goes across and back down, and adds a little bit of air in with it. So we'll see how it does with just a bigger jet. Now, I'm not going to do the choke at all because, like I said, I'm probably going to have to take it back apart. But we'll do it real quick, and we'll put it back on the motor and see how it runs with the changes I've done. And then we might have to take it apart and do this one more time and see where we're at. Once I got a better feeling for it, you can do as you please. Some guys asked a few questions. They thought that the jets that go in for the main rods, up here, they thought those jets might be metric. They are not. I measured them. They're exactly standard quadrajet jets. So any quadrajet jet will fit in this thing. Now, the idle mixture screw is metric, but so were later model quadrajets. They were a metric thread, and at the moment, I'm going to leave that piece be too. Sometimes you got to drill those out a little bit, but we'll see. I don't think we need to do that on this particular carburetor. We'll see how it does. The other people asked about the gasket, and the gasket is standard late model gasket. It has the little piece that comes out. I matched it up. A regular gasket would work. The only thing I noticed is it's like double thick. It's thicker than a regular quadrajet gasket. But if you were to have to replace the gasket, you'd just get one for like a late model 80, 82, something like that, quadrajet before they went fully electronic. And that would work just fine on it. So basically this is a copy of a later model quadrajet. It has metric screws for the idle mixture. It has the late model gasket on top. It has the later model style APT. So it's really a copy of a late model quadrajet. So it's not going to be quite like your 70, 71, 72 quadrajet. It's going to be a little different. And they did give you some jets and mirroring rods to try and get the tune correct. And we'll see how it does. Now, the other thing that people asked about is what I did for the bracket. And I just took a bracket off. I plated it, cleaned it up and plated it off of a trashed quadrajet. Now, these are just held in by a bolt on this one. So I just unbolted the Chevy linkage and put on the Cadillac linkage in order to make that part work. And that really was not hard at all. I just needed a donor that had good linkage on it. I've got several carburetors that are all crudded up and corroded. People that have left them outside too much. But I save them just for that, for link bars, screws, in the case of this, the linkage. So that's what it is. This is just a short video. Like I said, I am working on this thing a little bit, and I'm going to go and we're going to see if we can't put this back together and run it, and I'll do another video, and we might have to take it apart yet again and open that passage up, but then we'll know. We'll see if it works this way or not. Plus, I can see if my secondary side worked okay, or if I need to look at a different metering rod maybe for it to richen it up. So I wish you luck on all your projects, and this is an update on the Chinese quadrajet that I got, and we'll be talking to you later. Bye.